With the first weekend of this year's NFL playoffs in the books, I thought now would be a great time to open up a couple of brand new football video games. And I also thought this would be a good time to open up football video games in my favorite football series of all time, NFL Blitz. Now, we have opened up brand new copies of Blitz games on this program before. This is a brand new copy that I had opened up that is based, of course, on the NFL Blitz arcade name of the same title from 1997. This was released in 1998 along with its Nintendo 64 counterpart. This plays very closely to the coin op, while it also introduces new features such as season play. So instead of playing a round-robin version where you play, or a chain version where you play every team, you can actually play through a 16-game schedule and make your way to the playoffs and eventually the Super Bowl. Late hits, knocking off of helmets, high-powered, high-intensity gameplay. That's what NFL Blitz was about, and this was the game that started it all. It was followed by Blitz 2000 for the PlayStation N64, and then the Dreamcast version, which I opened up on the show and I don't have with me right now. This game's a little bit harder, adds some extra features in terms of extra field features, weather effects, things like that, but it's still very true to the original Blitz gameplay, and it's based off of the NFL Blitz 99 coin op. Still a lot of fun to play. The Dreamcast version, of course, is as close to the coin op as you are going to get without actually buying the coin op for your house, and is highly recommended. NFL Blitz 2001, which I'm not showing in this video because it's kind of just there. It came out at a very interesting time in the Blitz hierarchy. The earlier Blitz games were based on arcade games, and at this point the arcade games were done. Midway was moving away from arcade games for the most part and maneuvering more into console video game development. As a result, NFL Blitz 2001 felt kind of like NFL Blitz 2000.5, if you will. It was farmed out to Point of View, I believe, which was an external development team. And while some features were added and there were some holdovers from the original games, it never felt like an actual Blitz game. It just felt like a game that uses Blitz stuff but didn't have the heart or the intensity of the older games. At least that's my opinion, which is why I don't really like to talk about it that much. Now, with Blitz 2002 for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube, we were getting to a new generation of consoles and games that looked like arcade games. Were running at 60 frames per second, had great amounts of detail, had a lot of unlockables, and were just a lot of fun to play. This was just like having the arcade game at home, honestly. Whereas the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 versions of Blitz and Blitz 2000 were conversions of the arcade game and were respectable for what they could do based on the technology at the time. To me, this was the real deal. This was just like having a Blitz game at home, and I enjoyed it immensely. The only thing about this game that I didn't like was the fact that saving the game was a little bit more difficult than it should have been because of the way that the menus were set up, but that's neither here nor there, and that doesn't take away from how fun a game this really is. The next year, we got NFL Blitz 2003 with, yes, that is Michael Strahan on the cover. This game, unlike NFL Blitz 2002, pretty much assumes that you know what you're doing because the AI is very smart and will blast you if you do not know what you're doing. New players may want to avoid 2003 at first and go with either 2002 or any of the older Blitz games, but for seasoned Blitz players, you're going to want to try and sharpen your teeth on this one because this game pulls no punches and takes no prisoners. Also interesting about this particular version of Blitz is it's the first to introduce Create a Player, which is something that NBA Hang Time had introduced and was pretty cool, at least in my opinion. And that's where we had left off. We still have one more game in the NFL Blitz series, and then kind of a reimagining of sorts for the franchise, and we're going to get to both of those games right now without further delay. This here is NFL Blitz Pro, a game that I expected a lot more from, and when we take a look at the other pro game from Midway, being NHL Hits Pro, which was very good, in fact, right up there with the original NHL Hits 2002 for being my favorite of the series, this felt like a step back. This felt like a game that didn't have an identity, and that's really unfortunate. It got completely away from the arcade feel of the older games and went a little too close to the simulation aspect. The passing game, in my opinion, gets ruined. The running game, now it gets introduced as a more important facet of the game, and to me, it just doesn't make it as enjoyable. Whereas in the older Blitz games, you could run or you could pass both with success. Here, learning to pass takes too much time, in my opinion. You have to guide the receiver a bit too much. It doesn't feel it doesn't feel like something you just know how to do. It's something you have to learn, and that's a little bit on the annoying side. But nevertheless, this is the last of the NFL Blitz games before EA got the NFL license, and the NFL's like, we're not working with you anymore, Midway, sorry. So think you know NFL Blitz? Think again. Let's see here, and I got to try and read this right because the last few takes I have screwed this up horribly. It's time to go pro with the new NFL Blitz Pro. For the first time, authentic NFL features die-hard football fans demand have been combined with Midway Sports' trademark Fast and Furious gameplay, delivering an all-new NFL Blitz Pro experience different from what you'd expect from Blitz and different from what you'll get with any other football video game. There you go. That's what it promises. We do have some screenshots here, and the screenshots look okay. I believe, if I remember right, the frame rate on this is a little iffy too, which is weird to have that take a bit of a step back. Some of the features promised include 11-on-11 authentic NFL action, which explains why there might be some frame rate issues. New tournament-style online play. Online play, of course, getting to be a bigger and bigger thing by the time this game had come out, which I believe was 2005. I'm sorry, 2003. My bad. New Blitz-style running game. So again, the running game is a big part of this particular Blitz. New interactive sidelines. Whoopee. New pro-style AI, and this is true, the AI is better here. And new motion-captured pro-style animations. And yes, that is Terrell Owens on the cover. So let's go ahead and open this up and let us see what is on the inside of this copy of Blitz Pro. Now, I got this particular version of the game from Amazon, and I'm a little worried that this is resealed because we have the dreaded security device enclosed sticker at the top, which usually means bad things. But we will see. Maybe we'll get lucky this time. Let's go ahead and take the wrapping off. Either way, I'm glad to have this because I did not have the case or the manual for this game, so now I do. When we open this up, and we're just going to rip it open, we do have the game disc and the manual here. Let me see if I can, there we go. So you can see both. Just want to check the disc here and see if it's in good shape. Yeah, this hasn't been used at all, or at least it doesn't look it. And let's take the instruction manual out and see what's going on. So, on the back, we have an ad for NHL Hits Pro. Again, this is a fantastic arcade hockey game, and if you have not played it, I highly recommend that you go out and grab it for your PS2, your Xbox, or your GameCube. It is that good. Plus, if you have a Wii, you can play it via the GameCube functionality. Let's take a look at the front cover. Again, that is Terrell Owens on the front cover. When we open this up, it is in black and white. There aren't a lot of screenshots, but something that should be alarming if you're an arcade football fan is that you're seeing this to start. We have a bunch of different controller layouts based on before the snap, after the snap. It starts to get confusing, and it really shouldn't be when you're talking about an arcade-style football game. There are several different game modes here: quick play, exhibition, game, season mode, franchise mode, tournament mode, and online. There's a Blitz shop here, so you can buy team stadiums and creative game modes, which is pretty cool. There's including the original NFL Blitz, which throws all of the rules out that this game adds. That's what the screen looks, or the screens look like. They don't look awful, but they certainly don't look impressive. And by this time, we're starting to expect a little bit more from our PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube games. And if they take a step backwards, we're going to be a bit more critical. And that's, I think, what happened here. It's also Blitz Theater. You can pull up a chair and enjoy special behind-the-scenes footage of the making of NFL Blitz Pro, Terrell Owens Unleashed, and a riveting look at Blitz Bowl 2. So apparently there was 2 of those. Let's see if I have any more information on the game modes, because that's really what's important here. So there is season mode, where you can manage your team. There's roster management. I believe that there are free agents in franchise mode here too. It's serviceable. I mean, if you like playing season or franchise mode, you're going to get that here, which is a step up, especially in the franchise aspect. I didn't play franchise mode a lot myself, so I don't know a lot about it. There's also tournament mode here where you can set up tournament brackets, which is pretty cool if you like playing Blitz tournaments, although this is not the best game to be playing a tournament with. I would much rather be playing tournaments in original Blitz or Blitz 2002. There's information about getting your system online, which I guess is okay. This is also a Blitz that doesn't have Tim Kitzrow in it, which it's one of those things with Midway where the games that don't have Tim Kitzrow in it, being NBA Hang Time, which is very good, and then NFL Blitz Pro, which it just doesn't make any sense because Kitzrow had been with the series since the beginning. Just sometimes Midway made decisions that didn't make a lot of sense to me. But again, that's me nitpicking. I don't even know if they say who it was who was in the booth. Also worth noting that there are two music tracks in this game that I like a lot. Trust Company's Downfall is here, and Chevelle's The Red is here. Both songs that I really enjoyed back at this time in 2002, 2003. So that's pretty cool. And there's also an ad for NBA Ballers here, which I believe is another game that we've opened up on this show. There is also the warranty card right there if you want to send it in, although Midway doesn't exist anymore, and you do have to put a stamp on it. F in the chat for Midway. I definitely miss Midway. Despite their slip-ups and questionable decisions at times, the video game industry has not been the same since Midway folded, and I missed them terribly. So one more game to open up. Now, at this point, the NFL and Midway have divorced. The NFL has partnered with EA and is making games exclusively with Electronic Arts. There is no more Tecmo Super Bowl. There is no more NFL 2K. None of that. If you're going to have an NFL game, it's an EA game, and that is it. Midway did not give up. Midway decided they were going to take their Blitz franchise and they were going to unlicense it. They were going to license a famous player instead and put a pretty interesting storyline to it. Enter Blitz the League. This is a greatest hits copy. This is the copy that I could find, and this is again from Midway. This is from 2005 right here, and it's a game that I think made a lot of interesting steps and a lot of interesting decisions and is fun to play, even if the story does get a little melodramatic at times. So, win at any cost is what the game says here. There are our screenshots you can take a look at. And I want to read you what the back of the case says. It says, playing in the league is capitalized, by the way, the league, is your dream, but you've paid the price. Your arms ache from weight room reps and painkillers are blurring your vision. The dirty hits you've laid on quarterbacks are career enders, but they also keep you employed. 2 more sacks and you get your bonus, paying for your fast cars and faster lifestyle. It's 4th and 3 and you're up by 7. Stuff the offense, beat your opponents bloody, and win at any cost. Prepare yourself for helmet-popping tackles and career-ending dirty hits. Build up your clash meter and get in the zone by unleashing amazing jukes or brutal tackles. Rebuild a devastated team and journey through the intensity of a full season as you drive toward the league championship. Leave the boring TV booth behind and get down on the field with revolutionary movie-style presentation. What was interesting about this game was that it was written like an HBO drama where they glorify the injuries, the season-ending injuries. They glorify the drug use and the painkillers, and they make it more like a hard-hitting drama in terms of the story mode, while making a pretty decent Blitz football game. To me, it's better than Blitz Pro, not by a mile, but by a yard or a few. It is fun to play, and the storyline does make it interesting for solo players such as myself. So let's go ahead and get this opened up, and we'll take a look at the instruction manual that's in the inside. Again, this is a greatest hits copy, so I am not sure what to expect when we open this up, but we will find out. There isn't a sticker or anything on the top, but that's okay, because by this time we are starting to see fewer and fewer of those. Trying to open this on camera. There we go. All right. When we open this up, we do have the Blitz the League instruction manual and the disc with the red Greatest Hits logo on there. It is on a DVD-ROM, by the way, in case you were wondering. There's an ad here for the sequel to The Suffering called Ties That Bind. The Suffering is a series from Midway that kind of flew under the radar a little bit and is too bad. It's a lot of fun to play. If you can find it for your PS2, I highly recommend it. Yes, that is Lawrence Taylor on the cover, sporting his iconic number 56. We open up the instruction manual. Again, it is in black and white, but that is to be expected at this point. We do get some screens, some talk about the different modes of play, such as quick play, campaign mode, which allows you to create a team that you can take to the field against 15 other teams. Let's see what else there is here. Blitz Online is here on the field, and there's a bunch of credits here as well. What's interesting to me about this particular game is the addition of certain gameplay features. The thing I think that stands out to me the most is the clash meter. And the clash meter is something that allows you, once you build up these clash symbols, allows you to make some huge plays on the field, either on offense where you can be almost untouchable, or defense where you can lay some injurious hits on opposing players. You kind of have to build this up over time by executing moves on the field. It's a system that you have to learn a little bit, but once you learn it, it becomes second nature, and it's something that you want to continue to rebuild time and time and time again. Once you get 6 clash icons, you get into Unleash mode. That is kind of like the game breaker that you would see in NBA Street or NFL Street, for example, where you can just do some crazy, crazy stuff and completely change the outcome of a game if you're able to pull it off. So I think that that's pretty interesting. You get clash icons for jukes, for catches, scoring touchdowns, causing an injury, dirty hits, things like that. And causing the injuries in this game, they definitely hurt. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about the injury. And you can see the player struggling on the field or perhaps being escorted off the field. And I can see why Midway went in this direction, because the NFL was trying to shy away from that blitz style of glorifying the violence on the field. So they went completely in that direction. They went all in on it instead. And while some players are certainly going to prefer that, for me, I'm just more about the gameplay. The focus on injuries or on painkillers to shorten injury times, to me, was a bit over the top, but I can understand why they did it. And the story is compelling in that regard. It just feels a little forced, if you understand what I'm saying. But nonetheless, I think that Midway did a nice job here coming back and getting past the fact that the NFL had basically left them at the altar and they did their own thing. This is something that we would see Tecmo do a little bit later with a couple of Tecmo Bowl re-releases that didn't have the NFL seal of approval. And of course, we would see it from 2K with All-Pro Football 2K8, which used real football players but didn't have the NFL seal of approval. There was one more Blitz game before Midway called it quits, called Blitz 2, and that game came out for the Xbox 360 and PS3. That game, I think, took another step backwards. I think it tended to be a little bit too complex and tended to get further and further away from the arcade roots. It's still worth playing and has gone up a little bit in value, especially for the Xbox 360. But if you find it for cheap and you have an Xbox 360 or PS3 sitting around, I do recommend at least checking it out to see the last football game that Midway would make before their untimely demise. And that is a refresher on the NFL Blitz, or just the Blitz franchise. It is a franchise that I've enjoyed very much since first playing it in 1997. It is hard to believe that it's been 23 years since these games were first introduced. I have a lot of fond memories of the original NFL Blitz, dropping tons and tons of tokens into the original Blitz coin op, and then buying the PlayStation version and then later the N64 version of Blitz to play at home while I was working at Funko Land in 1998. So Blitz will always have a special place in this referee's heart, and hopefully it does in yours as well. As always, thanks for checking out this and all of my episodes of Unsealed. I really do appreciate it. And until the next time, my friends, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you later.